Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and I actually have a lot of topics that I want to cover in today's video. I want to talk about some of the roster moves that the Buccaneers have made recently. I also want to talk about some of the injuries and players who will and will not be playing in this upcoming game versus Carolina. And then finally, I want to go ahead and I want to cap this video off with some trade rumors and get your guys' opinions about it down in the comments section below. But guys, without further ado, let's talk about it. First, let's start talking about some of these roster moves. The first one I want to address is that the Buccaneers have released linebacker Deone Bucannon from the team, and they have signed Noah Dawkins, a linebacker, off of the Bengals practice squad. You know, this is surprising to me because I really enjoyed Deone Bucannon. I thought that he was going to be a really awesome player in this Buccaneers defense. Todd Bowles was excited to get Deone Bucannon in his defense. Bruce Arians was excited to get Deone Bucannon back on his team, and you know, things just didn't work out. Deone Bucannon, he played very little so far up to this point this year, and things just weren't working out, and he was released from the team. Now, I have a theory of what could happen. I will talk about that in a second, but thanks to this move, you know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have actually got a third-round comp pick in next year's NFL draft, which is really cool. And I'm also very intrigued to see what the Buccaneers have in linebacker Noah Dawkins. I think that he's going to be playing in special teams. There is no way I see him playing any snaps on defense in this upcoming game against Carolina. He may play some snaps later on in the year, like honestly, like maybe like week 11 or 12 is when we might start to see him rotate in, but I would not imagine anything before that. But anyway, back to the comp pick, is that the Buccaneers have actually got a comp pick in next year's NFL draft. They will not be getting that though until probably around a month before the actual draft begins, so keep that in mind, guys, for any trade scenarios you guys have in your head or whatnot. The Buccaneers won't be actually getting this pick until a month before the draft, so just keep that in mind for any future trade scenarios you guys make up. I will be doing it for myself as well. But yeah, very interesting move. I'm interested to see what Noah Dawkins adds to the team. He's young, he's fast, he should provide on special teams right away. My theory for what could happen here is, considering, you know, how comp picks work, is basically if you lose more players in free agency than you get players in free agency on your team, you will be awarded comp picks in the next year's draft, depending on, you know, how free agency works in certain situations like that. I'm trying to figure out if there's a loophole around this to where the Buccaneers, if they wait a certain amount of time, you know, for certain rules and regulations and stuff like that to pass, they can get both the comp pick and Deone Bucannon back on their roster. Nobody has confirmed if that is a thing that is possible or not. I'm still waiting to try and figure it out. If any of you guys know, please let me know down in the comments section below. But I'm trying to see if there's a loophole around it. There may be, there may not be, but I think it could be possible to get both Deone Bucannon back on the team and the third round comp pick. And I know you guys are going to say, why would you want Deone Bucannon back on the team? Because I think he can be good. I still think he can be an awesome contributor, an awesome backup, and an awesome special teams player. So keep an eye on this situation. Maybe the Buccaneers will bring Deone Bucannon back later on in the season. I personally think they would if they needed him, and they may just bring him back anyway due to any loophole that may be there in the comp pick system. So keep an eye on that. Deone Bucannon, sad to see you go, but me personally, I have a feeling that he may be back soon. Second thing I want to talk about is all the practice squad moves that were made. Guys, there were a lot of them. Here's the first thing I want to talk about: players that were released from the practice squad. Wide receiver Ishmael Hyman was released. Running back Tony Brooks James was released. And then finally quarterback Nick Fitzgerald. They were all released from the practice squad. You know, Ishmael Hyman, Tony Brooks James, those two aren't necessarily surprising to me. They weren't with the team for that long. They had only been with the team for about a month or so. Not surprising that the Buccaneers want to get some new types of players in there. Nick Fitzgerald is pretty surprising to me because I really thought that he could be something kind of cool, kind of special for this team. Wasn't the case, however. They may bring him back later on in the year. They may even bring him back next season. So keep an eye on Nick Fitzgerald and what they decide to do with him. But in their places, they signed outside linebacker Damone Harris back to the team. The situation with that was they activated cornerback Ryan Smith to the active roster from his suspension. They released outside linebacker Damone Harris. He cleared through waivers, and now he is back signed to our practice squad. They also signed running back Darius Jackson, and then finally they signed quarterback Chad Caniff. So Darius Jackson is the most interesting one here to me because I have seen, some really interesting reviews with Darius Jackson. A lot of people thought that he really could have been something a couple of years ago, especially with the Dallas Cowboys. He was doing some really awesome things in preseasons and whatnot, and now he's on the Buccaneers practice squad. Keep an eye on this one. This one could get really interesting with Darius Jackson. Damone Harris, we all know what he is. He's done some really awesome things for the Buccaneers defense in preseason and training camp. Always happy to have him a part of the organization. And then Chad Caniff, very interested to see what the Buccaneers do with him. It's a different quarterback than Nick Fitzgerald. We'll see what happens with him. And also, last thing I want to talk about with the practice squad is that the Buccaneers have promoted center Nate Trewin from the practice squad to their active roster. Him and Gerald Hawkins will basically be the only two backup offensive linemen for this upcoming game versus the Carolina Panthers, because Alex Kappa is out with an injury, DeMar Dodson is out with an injury, Earl Watford's going to be starting, and then also Josh Wells is going to be starting. So they were pretty thin on offensive line. They've got a little bit of extra help now with Nate Trewin being promoted from the practice squad. That's always good. Bring in some extra help because, you know, they're going to need it if any injuries happen. Knock on wood. You know, we don't want any injuries to happen, but it's nice to have some backups there. I liked Nate Trewin in the training camp and preseason that I saw him playing in. I thought he did a pretty solid job overall. I liked that he was on the practice squad, and now I'm pretty good with him being on the active roster as well. Another thing to note is Zach Bailey also won't be playing in this game. Backup guard. He is also out. So, yeah, really thin on backup offensive linemen. It is what it is. Nate Trewin, he's coming now to the active roster. He should be active for this game versus the Carolina Panthers. A couple of more injury things that I want to talk about is Devin White is going to be making his return to the team. He's going to be starting versus the Carolina Panthers. Huge update. Really awesome to see Devin White getting back onto the football field. You know, he had that knee injury. A lot of us were really worried. Ended up not being too serious. We have missed Devin White the past couple of weeks. Me personally, I think Kevin Minter has done a really good job filling in. But Devin White, you know, he's just a really awesome, special kind of player. The athleticism that he adds and just the overall raw talent that he has cannot be ignored. So having him in, especially against a guy like Christian McCaffrey, him and Levante David, that's going to be a huge help to this defense, and I'm very excited to get him back. Another player who should be playing in this game is going to be cornerback Jamel Dean, who I know a lot of you guys are going to be throwing up your hands and praising the Lord, because, you know, I'm going to be honest with you guys, Vernon Hargreaves, he struggled last game. Sean Murphy-Bunting, I think he did some pretty good things. Carlton Davis got ejected. That sucked because it really showed how much we missed a guy like Carlton Davis. And then also MJ Stewart, he's been ho-hum so far up to this point this year. But getting Jamel Dean back, you know, going to be really interesting to see. I believe right now the talk is that he is going to play pretty much right away, just like Devin White. Is he going to start? I have no idea. We could see a scenario where Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis are your starting outside cornerbacks. I would not be opposed to that. I think that they're both phenomenal cornerbacks, big, physical kind of guys, but I'm also willing to give Vernon Hargreaves a chance as well. I've seen some good things from Vernon Hargreaves, like that first week against San Francisco 49ers. He did not have a good game last week, so hoping Vernon Hargreaves can bounce back, but I will say I'm very excited to get Jamel Dean back, because from what I saw in training camp and what I saw in the preseason, you know, with that interception that he had in the preseason games, you know, really awesome cornerback. I think that he's big, he's physical. Pairing him and Carlton Davis together, that is an awesome cornerback duo in my opinion. So Jamel Dean, Devin White, they are very welcomed additions back to this Buccaneers defense. And finally, last thing I want to talk about is the Patrick Peterson trade rumors. I know a lot of people have talked about this the past couple of weeks, especially with our secondary being the way it has been. I do want to mention that Carlton Davis, you know, him coming back, he was ejected last game. I think that's going to be a huge boost to the secondary. I think getting Jamel Dean back is going to be a huge boost to the secondary. And I think that Sean Murphy-Bunting's been playing okay so far to this point. He's certainly been improving in my opinion so far. So I think that with Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting, you have a good group of guys there, and I think that Vernon Hargreaves can always bounce back. But the point I want to make, and then also MJ Stewart can do some good things as well, but it's hard to ignore the talent that Patrick Peterson has, okay? I've seen loads of you guys calling for the Buccaneers to trade for Patrick Peterson. I believe the Arizona Cardinals are 3-1 right now. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments section below, but right now they don't have a good record. We're almost getting to around week 8, which means we're getting closer to the trade deadline, which means if the Arizona Cardinals feel that they're not in a position where they're going to make the playoffs, they're going to want to move some of their players who have bigger salaries and whatnot. One of those players is Patrick Peterson. Now, Patrick Peterson is a player that is beloved by Bruce Arians. There's rumors going around I've seen on Twitter and whatnot that when Bruce Arians first came to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he contemplated trading for Patrick Peterson. Nothing ended up materializing, and then the Buccaneers moved forward. But now there might be another opportunity there, given the Arizona Cardinals in their current state and the Buccaneers in their current state. If the Buccaneers got a lockdown cornerback like Patrick Peterson, we could see some really dramatic shifts in this Buccaneers defense and just the momentum of the entire season. And that isn't to say that the season's over and anything. I'm just saying that it's always good to get a cornerback of Patrick Peterson's caliber. One of the best cornerbacks in the league, in my opinion, if not the best. He would be a very, very welcomed addition to this defense. So that's just kind of a question for all of you guys. What do you think about a Patrick Peterson trade? What would you give up to get Patrick Peterson? Me personally, I would probably give up as much as a second round draft pick. I truly would. Okay, I know people might say, oh, James, you're overpaying. I don't think you're overpaying. You know, for the type of impact that Patrick Peterson would have, he knows Todd Bowles, he knows Bruce Arians, and the impact that he would make right away by coming to this defense cannot be ignored. If you have a cornerback group of Patrick Peterson, Carlton Davis, which pause because that is a 1-2 combo of amazement and I love it. You have Jamel Dean, you have MJ Stewart, you have Sean Murphy-Bunting, you have maybe Vernon Hargreaves if he stays. I don't really know if you would get rid of Vernon Hargreaves or you would get rid of Ryan Smith. I don't really know. I don't think you'd get rid of Vernon Hargreaves. I would say that Ryan Smith would probably be the likeliest guy to go. But that cornerback room would look so much better with Patrick Peterson in there. You know, like I just said, Carlton Davis, Patrick Peterson, good lord. But I just want to get your thoughts on that down in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Next video, I'm going to have the players to watch versus the Carolina Panthers. And then after that, I'm going to be having the official game preview versus the Carolina Panthers. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. But until the next video or the next live stream, I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.